anyone forget their dinosaur?
So after about a decade of releases with varying receptions, Battlefield has had its big triumphant return with Battlefield 6, and I figured now is a good time to come back to the channel and talk about it because I'm loving my time with it, but there are some issues I want to cover, and I figured why not start with what I was looking forward to most, the campaign. Whenever I say the words modern military battlefield campaign, whatever you picture in your head is probably pretty close to what you'll get here in Battlefield 6. It's pretty short, around 6 hours, with a story that takes itself far too seriously, and of course, there is an obligatory tank mission, but I'll circle back to that one. Overall, I had a fun time with it, but as I'm sitting here making this video, I can't remember any of the characters' names. I do remember some critical story beats and set pieces, but that's kind of it for the positive side of things.
So were they.
I have quite a few negative thoughts though, like that aforementioned tank mission, because what the heck was that? If you played the campaign, you know what I'm talking about, but my gripe isn't necessarily with the mission itself, more so how out of place it is. The tank mission, appearing as the 7th of 9 missions, contributes nothing to the overarching narrative, ultimately serving no discernible purpose within the campaign itself, but they have it towards the end when you would expect the story to be building and really hitting its stride. Which it successfully does in the prior mission, where you are in Brooklyn defending the president against an attack on US soil. That's pretty sick for a Battlefield campaign, in my opinion, but then they take you out of it to have a tank mission in Egypt with the character that only gets mentioned a couple of times. Now, I know I am harping on this pretty hard, but it's just because it 100% feels like the victim of either cut content or rush development, or maybe both, and that is not okay. I wanted more of this campaign, despite the missions feeling like they come out of nowhere, despite the bugs like vehicles crashing into each other and getting stuck, and despite how jank it feels when the game takes control away from the player to set up whatever cutscene or set piece you're being ushered into next. Despite all of that, I still wanted more. Now, I am admittedly lenient on Battlefield and COD campaigns, just because I grew up playing them and I have that nostalgia in my heart. And that's probably the only reason I managed to somewhat enjoy this one, but it needed to be better. Just straight up. Not that great. The multiplayer is the return to form we've all been eagerly anticipating, filled with those quintessential only in Battlefield type moments. So let's talk about what makes it great and where it falls short. I mostly want to cover the latter, but for saying why I enjoy this as much as I do, I can talk about the movement speed feeling perfect, maybe I could touch on the weapon feel being mostly fantastic, or the fact you can now drag your teammates while reviving them. It's hard to put into words, so I'll just say that it's fun. Even though the current maps have their issues, they are still a breeding ground for the all-out warfare and chaos that the Battlefield series has built its name on. And I'll say it again, it's just fun. Now let's get into those issues like the aforementioned maps. A common complaint for most of the maps is that they are too small, but I would argue and say that they aren't. They're just too dense. So what this often leads to are these incredibly cinematic and visually impressive moments. I'm talking explosions, bullets flying everywhere, the building crumbling around you, the whole 9 yards. And when you're in the middle of it, it genuinely looks and feels amazing. But on the flip side, it can also feel cramped, and honestly, that feeling of being too boxed in is a huge contributor to the aforementioned complaints that the maps just feel too small. It's a double-edged sword, for sure, and feels like an overcorrection from the main complaint Battlefield 2042 received at launch, where the maps were far too open with very little in the way of meaningful cover. The team has shown with 2042 that they are capable of learning and improving their maps over time, so I'm optimistic that the same dedication will be applied here and we'll see some excellent new maps in the future. I mean, we've already seen it right after launch with the new maps they've added, but we'll have to see how they keep it up. Another complaint I have with the maps are the random doorways and staircases that lead to nowhere, which can be frustrating to the player. You'll be chasing an enemy or looking for a flank only to find yourself at a dead end, forced to backtrack. It's a small detail, but it adds to that feeling of being boxed in, and it can disrupt the flow of gameplay in a noticeable way. New Sobek City is easily the worst map when it comes to this due to the excessive verticality and pointless stairways. This design creates frustrating dead ends and just it wastes time. Let me just hop into a match to explain this all better. Alright, so I am here in a private match in New Sobek City, which is one of my least favorite maps here in Battlefield 6, and it's because you have this nice sense of verticality, all of the buildings that go up. And you'll often find snipers up there. They'll take a helicopter, parachute in, you'll be like, oh, I'll try to flank them or something, because this is one of the capture points in this area. But you'll run into these buildings, and notice, oh hey, there is no staircase. There's no rope or anything to ascend in any of these. And it's kind of crazy. It's really annoying. Because again, you'll have snipers, they'll get up there and they'll camp, and there's no real way to get to them. And you have these doorways, which look like they should be something, but they're not. And they're in all of these buildings. There's one there, here's another one here, and it's very, very frustrating mid-match. A lot of these buildings do have that issue. Some of them do have like rope to ascend in these buildings or staircases that take you up to different levels, and it's just annoying that all of them don't have it. Okay, so this one used to make me really mad, but it seems like they've patched it here on Liberation Peak, which is one of my favorite maps. It's beautiful. Bunch of cool battlefield chaos. But the map borders used to stop way too short, so you'd never actually be able to run up here. But now, you can get all the way up here. And it's pretty cool, because I was very, very mad when you'd try to snipe, get up there, and it just wouldn't do anything. It's like, what are you doing? You get, just, To close things out, Battlefield 6 is easily my favorite Battlefield game at launch since Battlefield 3. The campaign, while exactly what I expected, should have been better. But the multiplayer, man, the multiplayer is just so much fun. That is the third time I've said it now in this video, so I hope that point sticks. It's a great foundation to build upon, and I'm genuinely excited to see how it evolves. I'll definitely have to make a follow-up video down the line to see if they can execute on that potential. Oh, it is good to be back in Battlefield, and it's good to be back on this channel. So, thank you for watching InputSource. I'll see you in the next video, whenever that might be. I have some things planned, but let's see if I actually do them. Till next time.